Did Gene case him?
Yeah.
Gene.
Mm-hmm. Shit. I have my microphone on. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm gonna spin his chair, Jay. Can you spin his? Thanks, dude.
Good luck, bitches. By the way.
Thank God. Keep in mind, Eric, that's up. That's potted up. So
This is.
I'll pot it down in a second once this intro's over.
Gotcha. Oh, look at. Gotcha.
Alrighty, and welcome to the Detroit Cast. I'm Mike, that's Jay. Eric is here as well. And almost got a full team here for a Monday edition of the Detroit Cast. How you doing, buddy? How was your weekend?
Well to quite well, right in that range.
Yeah?
That was good.
Anything exciting happen?
I'm just struggling through these next couple of weeks of soccer, trying to finish that out, the youth soccer thing. And
Yeah.
actually have a summer to, on our hands here.
Yeah, I can't wait myself.
So
I've got my own issues to get through, and it doesn't seem to be getting any easier, any quicker, and it's whatever. We're here.
Monday morning, man.
Dude, it's just every day. I don't know if I want to cry or
No, don't cry.
leave or just give up or fight.
No,
I will, but it doesn't get any easier, buddy. I tell you that. Although I guess we got it better than some, I suppose. Ann B. Davis comes to mind.
You can always say that. It can always be worse.
Yeah. And I see people are using your line of thinking with it really just shows like where you were born in the world and when is all it is. It's all that matters. Someone stole your quote. So yeah, I'll show you that in a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot to get to today, including a lot of stuff going on in the news and some things people wouldn't have expected, like stuffed camel recipes. I bet nobody saw that coming.
No.
Nobody. I could promise you that.
Got it for you here.
We
folks.
do. We do. Dogs shitting on planes. Our favorite Don Sterling.
Little
update, kind of. I feel like an idiot bringing an update about Don Sterling because
it's a tangled web.
It is beyond a tangled web. And then
Don makes it that way, though.
He does. He really does bring that on himself. We'll get into that in a second. Also, the Taliban.
Back in the news.
Back in the news, yeah. I thought we'd kind of done away with the Taliban, but no, that they're in the news. And Ann B. Davis, as I mentioned. You know who Ann B. Davis is, right?
I know who Ann B. Davis is.
Yeah, yeah.
Alice, dead, gone.
I know. I wonder how Sam the Butcher's doing.
I think he died a couple of years ago.
Did he?
Like, yeah.
With that that weird relationship they had, not married, going on all these dates, and you know what Sam was putting it to her.
She had that private entrance, if you know what I mean.
Out
the laundry room. Did you watch that
Is
show?
that what they called anal back then?
Did you watch that show?
I did and then when I heard
that was like right in our wheelhouse, right?
Oh yeah, the Brady Bunch.
You come home, throw on channel 50.
Yeah.
Remember when you had 247 and 9 every now and then to watch
CBC?
hockey?
Yeah.
But then you had UHF.
Oh
UHF,
yeah.
Right? UHF.
UHF and
then
VHF.
the big dial, you'd be like between 20 and 50.
Yep.
And you could do it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know,
you got so used to it.
Yeah, just right to it.
And 56, which sucked, kind of the PBS,
Yeah.
but it came in. It was something. You kids out there have no idea.
No idea. Holy cow.
There was no Kardashians. There was no Kim Ye. all that garbage. You had 247, 50, 62, 20, and occasionally 9.
Was there?
CBS, yeah. 60.
I thought that came in way later.
Did it?
But anyway, yeah.
Maybe.
But your point is,
Yeah.
you know, 6, 7 channels,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. And you'd be stuck like just laying there watching like, you know, Beverly Hillbillies
Anything,
or something.
yeah.
Like, yeah, this is good, I guess.
It's better than White Noise, which is on the other channels. TV back then used to end programming at a certain time, and then they'd go to color bars and then White Noise.
Yes.
It was like they only had like 4 channels, and they couldn't fill it with programming.
Unbelievable.
And all the actors talk like this. They all had that Hollywood voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, the Brady's. It's interesting about the Brady Bunch. I think that was the first television program where the couple shared a bed together.
Yep.
Which is funny because Mike Brady was a major homo.
Right, in real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it must have been killing him to shoot those scenes. Oof. Must have been killing Mike to shoot those scenes. Poor Mike Brady. Anyway, so I guess that's a good eulogy.
Oh, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Miss you, Ann B. Davis.
Oh my God.
And I guess we should start with a big welcome home to Bo Berdahi. Screwing his name all up. He was the kid captured by the Taliban, who was released. Apparently, we've got we're learning things from like baseball and football. We're making trades now in the actual world of war. And
You think Obama called Dombrowski on this one?
I don't know. He couldn't have called Osama.
Yeah.
You know, we took care of that owner.
Take care of that.
He's out of the league for some reason. He was banned from the league way before the Don Sterling stuff. But yeah, we apparently worked out a deal, and it was a 3-way deal. Qatar got in on this one.
Yeah.
And they.
Complicated 3-ways, yeah.
Yeah, those complicated 3-ways are always complicated.
They are. Yeah.
But it bothers me for some reason knowing that the Taliban has their story, and you know it's going to be used as propaganda. Look what we got out of the Americans. Mm-hmm. But they're acting. If you didn't know any better, you would think that this was like actual negotiations between 2 proper governments. Mm-hmm. The U.S. government and the mighty Taliban government.
Right.
Instead, they're on goat in the desert.
Yeah.
They haven't showered in God knows how long, and they had something we wanted, and they've been demanding these 5 guys that have been in Guantanamo Bay for years, and finally we said, fuck it, give them the 5 assholes in Guantanamo Bay, and Qatar's deal was, well, we keep them in Qatar, they stay at home with family, and no problem to USA, we'll keep eye on them. And we're like, okay, sounds good. As if we're going to keep tabs on that, make sure these guys are. I'm sure they've learned their lesson. They're minding their shit. But yeah, this Bo guy. How would you like to be that guy?
Boy, 5 years.
5 years, dude.
Think of where you were 5 years ago, and then just erase all that time in between. Don't erase it. Put yourself with your nuts in a vice and electrodes on your nipples, and these Taliban guys screaming in your ear all day long.
Yeah, I like one. I like one.
Yeah,
no. See, that's where you're wrong, Jay. I think everyone's got the wrong idea of things. Because the Taliban are saying that we treated Captain as guest.
Oh,
he was his guest. They even gave him like one of those hats that they wear, one of the hats as a parting gift.
Oh, and they apparently, had him at some sort of spa because he lost a lot of weight.
He sure did.
And working out. And everything.
Yeah, they were worried when they saw images of him. Meanwhile, the official spin from the Taliban is they had informed Berdahi a few days ago about his likely release. He didn't even believe it because a couple of years ago, I guess they do this a lot where they fuck with these guys and act like, oh yes, you're being released, and then they put him in a car, drive him around the desert a few times, do some donuts, and then they're like, haha, fuck you, go back to your hole, and it's like, God, it sucks. I'm serious.
Brutal.
It's brutal. So, anyways, he didn't even believe it because a couple of years ago, apparently they were going to hand him over to members of their council, who scheduled the release in exchange for these Taliban guys. And discussions, as they often do, contract discussions broke down somewhere in the chain, and they weren't able to make that deal go through. So they sent him back to the Taliban and back to your cave.
They asked for an additional 3rd round pick.
Exactly.
Something fell through.
They didn't want to give it. They figured 5 guys for 1 was enough, but they wanted this 3rd-round pick or something, and so that we didn't do it. And so talks failed that time, and so this time finally proved successful for a prisoner swap. We returned our valued guest to his countrymen, and they released our people. Our valued guest, as if he was staying in like their version of the the 5-star resort and getting treated to all the amenities. But talks have been going on for several weeks. A Muslim country, they wouldn't even say that has sympathies with the Taliban. They're talking about Qatar was big as the 3rd party in there. But they were quick to point out, it is war in which they kill us, we kill them. But we did whatever we could to make him happy and return with good memories.
Jeez.
Return with good memories. Do you realize they're saying, Jay, after 5 years over there, they don't know if he speaks English anymore? How fucked up does your situation have to be where you forget how to speak English?
Yeah, the mental abuse has to just be extreme.
Overwhelming. I don't even know what you could do.
And before you move on from Qatar, do you realize that they have the FIFA World Cup in 2018?
Yeah.
Qatar.
Yeah.
Qatar.
Good luck.
This country, this country we're talking about in the 3-way.
In the 3-way?
Yeah.
How?
Money. They bribed the right people.
Oil money?
And they bribed the hell out of it. FIFA's so dirty. So anyway, I digress.
No, that's interesting. But they said that this guy was held between Pakistan and Afghanistan in some tribal areas, and they said after the release deal was finalized, after they got all the contracts signed and whatnot, they took him to in Afghanistan, the Coast Province, by a 3rd party, and then delivered him to American forces. We don't know any further what happened to him. So they're like, we're done with that dude.
We're done with that guest.
Yeah, that guest is.
We enjoyed him very much.
He will have nothing but happy memories. I promise you.
And the most extreme form of sarcasm, or are they being serious about it?
They're totally being serious. They said the Taliban said Barakdagi was given a traditional Afghan turban as a parting gift before his release. Parting gift? Are you kidding me?
God.
Yeah, it just. But what kind of message does this send is what I worry about. I thought we didn't negotiate with terrorists. Isn't that what we've been told for forever?
Again, I go back to these Vince Flynn novels that I read. Why didn't we send in Mitch Rapp to take care of it? That's the good guy from that CIA.
Yes.
Why didn't we send that guy in to get him?
See, you crazy Americans have seen too
Eric's
many
looking
movies.
at me.
That's a fictional character!
Oh, is it? It's fictional? Okay.
You crazy Americans see too much TV, too many Bond movies. Yeah, apparently it's not that easy to just drop in when you don't know where someone is and get them. But as they talk about this guy too, like, oh yeah, he was treated with utmost respect. But in these videos, every time there was a video, it was just him like going, "I want to go home, please, please send me home. That's all I want to do is go home." Over and over, and they're going, "See, prisoner is very happy, very good boy, very good prisoner. He's in great." In 2010, let me go. I'm a prisoner. I want to go home. Every day I want to go home. The pain in my heart to see my family again doesn't get any smaller.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was a year in. Dude.
So we gave up 5 for 1, you said?
5 for 1.
Okay,
Seems
5
like
for
a
1.
terrible deal, dude.
It does. On paper, it does.
It's awful.
I hope, for God's sakes, that we mined those motherfuckers for every ounce of intelligence we could get out of them.
Well,
that we engaged in similar sort of mental battery over the last how many years we've had them.
Yeah, probably not. We probably absolutely treat them with whatever kind of respect we can, knowing that all eyes are on us and we have to be the bigger man. You get a little drops of water on the forehead. You'll live. Trust me. Would you rather trade places with Bo? No. We give them prayer rugs and respect their religious shit at that time and listen to them. They have lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he had a lawyer in the middle of the fucking desert?
How would you know a lawyer as a guest?
Well, that's true. That's true. He's a guest. Ours are prisoners. But remember when they had like the deck of cards, like the Ace of Clubs was Osama or whatever. Like these guys were in these cards.
Were they really?
I think these were not bullshit guys. These were real deal.
52, huh?
I think so. Like one of them was the number 2 level like intelligence guys. Now these guys aren't what the thing that the government is saying is these guys are not guys that are going to end up on the front line and fighting with us.
Yeah, we've heard that in the past. So.
Of course we have, but they're too old now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 5 years, I doubt it. This is their life. Their life is kill America. So I don't think they're going to
us holding them for how many years?
Exactly. So
boy.
I don't know, man.
And one other unfortunate aspect of the story is how they got my man out there, the Taliban.
Well, yeah, he apparently was the only American they caught. And I'm no expert on this, and I don't know the whole story. It's all been unfolding all day, but he apparently wandered off on his own.
Dude.
Like what? And Eric, maybe you can look that up. Simple Google search will probably tell you exactly what happened to him. But yes,
I would guess so. Yeah. What are we looking for? Yes.
Ann B. Davis.
Yeah, we're on a Brady Bunch. Ann B. Davis. I think she was in there. Can you look that up?
I know we're not talking about that anymore, but I was doing something else and I wasn't paying attention.
There's only been one American that was traded for 5 Taliban.
I understand.
I'm sure you can find it.
I know you were looking for something. You were being productive. Just for the record,
okay.
He was being productive.
So what did you want me to look up?
Google.
What happened to Bo?
Yeah. How did he get caught?
Yeah, how did he get caught by the Taliban?
We believe he wandered off.
I know he wandered off. He did wander off. Why? I don't know. Yeah. What they're saying, what if you watch Meet the Press in the morning, like all the spinning is going on from American top-level government. And what they're saying is he's got a lot of questions to answer. Like, first things first, let's see if he can still speak English.
Yeah.
Let's get him fed and showered and medical attention like crazy. He still hasn't even talked to his parents. By the time people listen to this, maybe he will have. But
do you happen to know what rank he was?
I don't know.
Fairly low level.
I think he was he was on the front lines.
Well, God bless America, where he's worth enough, to trade.
No doubt about it.
5 of these assholes, high-level assholes, for one measly him.
Well,
he's American.
Yeah, and they always pound into these guys' head that you'll never be left behind. We'll never leave one behind, and so you want to believe like, wow, that's awesome. They wouldn't leave one behind, but
you just wish we would have gone in guns blazing and
got
out that way.
Or
maybe that he wouldn't have wandered off in the first place.
Maybe.
Ideally,
that'd be an ideal situation, perhaps. The other thing, maybe, does this have anything to do with the fact that they're pulling out of the war completely, Guantanamo Bay?
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you do with these fucking assholes?
They're looking for a way to use them anyway.
Like, okay, we don't want these fucking assholes here anyways. Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Got all these casino chips, and the casino's closing.
Yeah.
How do we use them? Quick trade a few in.
Yeah, let's cash 5 of them in. It seems like the Herschel Walker trade all over again. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, you wonder.
But hey, hopefully this guy goes on to prosper, and it's good that
learns English again.
Yeah. Or
do you want to still know?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me turn your mic on.
Okay. Did you want? Okay. So I was able to look at, even despite that, I was still able to find out, even though I was doing something else at the time. No. What he says is that his thing is that he was captured when he fell behind on patrol. The Taliban sources say he was ambushed after becoming drunk off base, which U.S. military, of course, kind of argues that, saying that they tend to lie a lot. So it sounds like his version.
Wait, who lies a lot? The Taliban or the American government?
Both. The American government says that the Taliban is known for lying, that they don't think he was drunk and off base. So that's what his story is that he was captured when he fell behind on a patrol. So.
How do you fall behind on a patrol?
That's what he said.
I mean, I've never been there. I'm certainly way too big of a pussy to ever even dream of being the badass you would need to be to go do anything like that. But how would you fall so far behind your guys? I guess I would have not the first idea, so I shouldn't rag on him for it. But I don't know. It seems tough to believe.
Yeah, especially when these, as you say, higher up guys are coming out saying, yeah, he has some questions to answer.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure they'll ask those questions and hopefully get answers. I'm sure they will. But did you see his dad, by the way?
Yeah.
Or his parents?
Yeah.
Does his dad not look like one of the 5 we just traded? Seriously, dude. Like, just for I don't know, just for the sake of the public seeing you on TV.
Go into the rose garden.
Clean shaven,
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, do your best to not look like the absolute enemy in this moment. Is that so much to ask for? I mean, seriously, dude.
Yeah,
He's got a beard halfway down, like, unless that's something where it was like, for every day that Bo's been gone, I swear I wouldn't shave, like the hockey playoffs or something.
Hockey playoffs.
He's never expected 5 years later to look like Osama himself.
Son's imprisonment beard. Yeah, man, stop disrespecting that shit, dude. He's doing it for a cause.
Maybe.
So.
I don't know. I'd like to see some pictures from 5+ years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure what we were dealing with. Eric?
I'm trying to Google it right now. I'm trying to see if there's pictures of him. Without every picture I see, he has the beard on. So,
He has the beard on.
well,
He put it on in the morning.
well, not
Like it's a hat.
grown. The beard grown.
Right. Hey, Jay, not to sound really ignorant and stupid, but this camel recipe
Yes.
that you bring today, is this? Is the Armenian base that they call home field anywhere in the region?
Yeah, we're in the same region.
We are in the same
We've got
region.
a nice segue.
Okay.
I was going to do it a little bit more smoothly than that.
Okay.
Hey, speaking
Not
of that
offend
region,
people.
Speaking of that region, let's move on to Armenia. My wife's family, part of it is Armenian.
Okay.
And not too long ago, I was over.
Beautiful people.
Beautiful
I love
people.
Gab's family.
I was over at her parents' house, and in their kitchen, prominently displayed is this Armenian cookbook.
Okay.
So we start thumbing through it, and this, no joke, was in the middle of an absolute serious cookbook.
Yeah.
Stuffed Camel Supreme.
Awesome.
It calls for one whole camel, medium size.
Cigarettes, or are we talking like humps camel?
We're talking humps, dude. Dromedary. 20 whole chickens, medium size.
Wait. 20 whole chickens, medium size though.
Medium size. Yeah.
Don't give me 10 large ones.
No.
We don't want
20
5 big fat jumbo shot up with steroids ones.
And this is important for the final display, and we'll get to that.
All right.
But we've got 20 kilos of almonds, 5 kilos. You know what? This is probably proprietary. I don't want to read it all because I might be reading a copyrighted information. But
Right.
Suffice it to say,
What an, yeah.
you don't want to get shut off on
Sorry.
YouTube again.
Hey,
This is
we
all
got shut up the
proprietary.
other day. The other day we were
I know.
Shut off the
Again.
YouTube machine.
Yes, again for copyrighted material. Those cocksuckers, and I did say cocksuckers, at NBC went around like little fucking babies and yanked down every video that played Snowden. Their copyrighted Snowden interview.
Are you
Fuck
kidding me?
you.
That's what it was?
Yes.
That's wow.
That's why our shit got yanked.
Wow.
Everybody. The NBC went around like little fucking pussies and yanked down all the videos. Do you know how many fucking shows talked about Snowden that
Yeah,
day?
really.
So like any show. They talk
Anybody.
about
Oh yeah, they didn't just target the Detroit cast, but they went after anybody on the internet that was playing their video. It's like the Super Bowl leading up, and they don't want you even saying
Yeah.
the word Super Bowl.
Doesn't that only
That's why you always hear commercials. The big game
Yeah.
coming up this weekend. Yeah, the big game.
doesn't that only
it.
benefit them that people are
Of
talking?
course it does.
Because all people are doing is talking about NBC in the interview.
So yeah, I know it's ridiculous. But anyway,
Well,
as
didn't we go
much as I
right-
want to rag on you for saying that about copyright, the
Yeah,
joke, it's
exactly.
like no, it's a real fear.
Back to the main dish.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is when he asked me if we should talk about this today or not, I read the first thing it said, one medium whole camel. And I said, why are you even asking me if we should talk about this? Whole camel?
This is no brainer. Where do you even get a whole camel?
Medium whole camel.
20 whole chickens, one whole. Why do I keep saying kitchens? 20 whole chickens, one
Yeah.
whole lamb, 60 eggs, right? Pistachios, salt, 20 kilos of rice.
Don't forget the salt.
This is no shit a frickin' main dish in this.
Dude.
Okay, and this is how you do it. You skin, trim, clean the camel, the lamb, and the chickens. Boil until tender. What are we
sounds like
boiling this motherfucker?
This
in?
sounds like a turducken.
Right, no, listen, it's very much like that. Cook rice until fluffed. Fry nuts until brown and mix with rice. Boil eggs, hard and peel. Stuff the chickens with eggs and rice. Stuff the lamb with 5 chickens and some rice. Stuff the camel with the lamb and more rice.
Yeah, it's a
So
turducken.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Broil. Wow, big.
Whoa,
big
yeah.
Broil in large enough oven or near a gas flame until brown. Spread the remaining mixed rice on a large tray and place the camel on top.
On a tray.
Does it say anything like forklift needed to lift
Front-end
medium-sized camel? Yeah,
No.
front-end loader.
Place the remaining stuffed chickens around the camel. See, this is why we need the 20.
Oh, presentation, right.
Presentation. Decorate the rice with boiled eggs and nuts. Serves 30 to 100.
30 to 100 what?
Dude, this is like right next to, just every day, right? It's right next to whatever dish, that they would serve up
Is that a
for
joke?
regular day. No!
Has
that's
anybody-
the thing.
Has anybody like attempted this?
No idea.
What would happen if you went and bought a camel tomorrow and did that to it in America? Like, what would they do to you?
Go to the Detroit Zoo.
I'm looking
Listen,
for one camel
You got
medium.
5 of those fuckers out there. They spit on people. I've seen them. Just give me one.
Just give me one with like medium humps.
Medium size.
Just show them the recipe.
Medium size.
I would bring the recipe though. I wouldn't probably just walk in. I probably wouldn't just.
Yeah. Go in there with like a shopping cart list. I need 20 medium chickens, and I'm gonna need one lamb, preferably medium, and then get one of your camels.
Why are they all
Your
medium?
finest camels.
They're all
Because
medium.
it's about the presentation here.
Oh, sorry.
There's so much absurdity about this, but it's not as if we just pulled this off the internet. Somebody made
No.
that up. Hey, whatever. I mean, this was in a freaking recipe book. Absurd, dude. So again,
I'm
God
assuming-
bless America.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree. Now, did you question anyone in the immediate family? Like, has anybody ever tried this? Do you know anybody who's ever
I
attempted
did
this?
raise those questions.
Of course you did.
And the answer was, oh
God,
my
no.
goodness. They looked at that and read it like, oh my God, I can't believe that's next to the baklava. Never noticed that.
How do you?
Serving dish. What are they serving it
A
on?
tray, dude, not a dish.
Well,
You must be serving like a stadium full of people. Is it like
30 to 100. Man.
30 to 100? That's a wedding. That's a wedding party.
Gotta
It just
be.
begs so many questions. Where do you find a large enough oven? Where do you find a large enough tray?
Mhm.
I didn't even think about that.
Where do you find a camel just roaming free that you can nab?
Well, we solved that.
Yeah, I guess local zoos are always quick to just donate camels to
Absolutely.
your hunger needs.
Ugh, absurd.
Oh man.
Did you want to tell the wedding part of that, or did you not want to? I didn't know if you wanted to do
Oh,
that
just
or
the
not.
idea, that I come from sort of an Armenian family, and again, Gab's dad is Armenian.
Yeah.
She's adopted, so she's not technically, and she doesn't know a ton about the culture.
Right.
But her dad is like straight out of Armenia. So
Yeah.
he and his whole side of the family are
Right.
big time.
He's a huge fan of stuffed camels.
Huge thing. Yes, indeed. So our wedding had to have sort of this flair to it. I mean, it was.
Oh, your wedding?
Yes, my
Oh, I
wedding.
thought, when you said that, I thought it was like just a family member. It was your wedding.
I've been to plenty straight up like 100%
Yeah.
Armenian weddings. They're friggin' nuts.
Really?
But you were at mine.
yeah,
I mean,
I don't remember it.
there
I
was.
remember you had bagpipes.
Okay, that was one part, and then there was like a
That was like
normal,
your
normal
request.
American, and then we had freaking Armenian dancing,
Yeah.
and it was like the weird thing. They all grab pinkies and they start dancing in a circle kind of
Yeah.
thing, and then they threw the bride and groom in the middle, me and Gab, and we're
Okay.
like, what do we do? So,
They didn't tell you this in the
No.
warm-ups?
so I grabbed a napkin, threw it above my head, and started dancing.
You grabbed a napkin and just
Well, I
threw it
didn't
on
want to
your
look like an asshole.
Oh, God. Oh, God forbid. What made you grab for a napkin to toss
I don't know, man. I needed
Really?
something.
Some napkin?
I needed something. You know?
Did you do this?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, clog dancing.
Yeah, just sort of clogging. Yeah.
the wooden shoes.
Doing what an American mutt would do in the middle of a wedding.
Pretending you know what's going on.
Eric is legitimately fascinating. I
I'm
love it.
trying to picture you of all people.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I just don't see you. Away.
Olay, that's Mexican.
Well, I don't know when I say
Olay.
it.
Why would I say Olay?
Well, why would you be jumping around with a napkin?
Did Gab
Yeah, she just sort of like grabbed me and we just sort of, yeah.
go with it?
Is there a wedding video? Is there a wedding video?
I'll try to find it.
I
I'm
would
surprised
love
you
to
didn't
see
bust into the fucking Michigan. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello,
Yeah,
my
that's
ragtime girl.
I could have done that.
What was his name? The Michigan frog.
That was it, wasn't
No,
it?
J Frog.
Yeah, Michigan J Frog. That's it.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Whoa, listen to those pipes. Look at those pipes,
That was
Jay.
Except he fucking couldn't perform in public.
No.
Mm.
Open the box, rivet,
Yeah.
rivet. God, that would suck,
Ugh.
dude, to be sitting on that gold
He
mine.
was
Those
so
people-
good. He was so good.
Singing frog. Not only can he talk and sing, but he's in tune and
Good
he's got
dance.
good pitch. He can dance. He gets a top hat and cane like that.
He's a triple threat.
Yeah.
It's so mind-blowing. Those guys, every time they try to show somebody, and then every time.
The guy went crazy, right?
Right,
yeah. Wouldn't you?
Like,
yeah. I mean, sitting there, oh, yeah, it'd be horrible.
yeah, so I could have done that dance, but instead
I want to see video. If you have wedding video.
This is back in the day where we don't have it like on DVD. And
Right.
Yeah, there was like guys with big cameras on their shoulders.
Boy. Anyway.
Hey, the Clippers apparently were sold.
Yeah, sorta, kinda, maybe.
Kinda, maybe.
I don't know. Depends on what Don thinks of it tomorrow.
Well, it's dude, this is turning into the weirdest story ever. Usually when you have differing opinions, you get a story in a paper that gives one perspective and opinion, and then you have another story that contradicts it, and you go, oh wow, they don't have their stuff together. Like this story, paragraph by paragraph, is all over the map. It doesn't make any sense.
Nobody but Don knows what's going on.
And that's scary.
Don doesn't know what's going on.
Like, I'm seeing CNN ticker rolling on the screen that says, I'm not even kidding, Don deemed incapable of, how did they word it?
Incompetent, right?
Yeah.
Mental
capacities, incapable of decision making. Wife has written consent from Don to blah 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 blah. Period. Next sentence, not like 2 stories later. Next sentence, Don says not selling the team under no circumstances. Must be signed by. You cannot do this without Donald's consent, and he will not give it. And it's like, what are we talking about here?
You're right. There's rarely a story like this, and it's because the central character is such a whack job.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then I would argue, quite successfully, I think, and I'm not a lawyer, believe it or not, but I think even I could argue in a court of law that Donald Sterling and his racist rants were the greatest thing to ever happen to the National Basketball Association, ever.
There's certainly an argument there.
And I think I would win that argument.
What would be your main argument?
My argument would be that this team was valued maximum a month ago at $1 billion on a good day. Most people would say hundreds of millions, maybe even $1 billion if you got lucky. He goes on a racist nutty, brings massive media attention to this team.
I just need some juice, and I'm gonna go sit over here in the corner. You guys, why did that woman make me say those awful things?
Don, back in your room. Let the adults talk. Hurtful. Fast forward.
Hurtful things. Why did I say those hurtful things? My granddaughter, they wouldn't give her candy.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They would,
Christian nursery.
at her Christian nursery because they don't give candy to racists.
Was it a Christian
What have
nursery?
I done?
Described it as,
What?
describes
Isn't that anti-Christian
No,
though?
he describes it everybody's in terms of religion or race.
Yeah.
Everything.
No, but I'm saying, but
It's got
if
categories for
Very
everything.
siloed.
but
The
if
blacks, the Christians, the Jews. Nobody's just a person.
but if it's really a Christian school, why are they not giving juice to a kid? Because her grand
to racist.
Because it's not
when her
true,
grandma's
right?
raised.
It's
Oh.
not true. He's making it up.
But after
He's
all,
imagining it. He probably truthfully imagined it.
maybe. Does he even have a granddaughter?
That's a good
Who
point.
knows? But after all that nuttiness and all the attention that's been brought on there, the team sells in 24 hours for $2 billion.
Incredible, man.
Which just means if the Clippers, who have never even won a title, I couldn't name 3 players in the history of the Clippers organization. I couldn't name 3 players on the team. They have a dog shit deal with their stadium. Where they now, this guy owns this. He doesn't own the rights to that stadium like most franchises would. He shares it. He rents the place. So he doesn't make any fucking money off concessions, parking, the door, nothing for anything that's not an NBA-related event. No concerts, no anything else.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a piece of any of that. And he just bought this team for $2 billion. What does that say for the rest of the teams in the league? What their value is now?
Yeah, what did you say that Milwaukee sold for like $550? And you could argue Milwaukee is a higher level organization. I mean, just they're in Milwaukee, which is awful compared to LA.
Right.
But in terms of
they're the Clippers of the Midwest.
Right, in terms of competency as a basketball team,
yeah,
you could argue the Jack Sikma years, those glorious Jack Sikma years, put them ahead of LA Clippers. I don't know.
Perhaps, but if you said, like, who do you compare the Clippers to? And if you took away the last couple of years where they've been kind of decent, the Milwaukee Bucks that's a good argument. And if you wanted to go, okay, you're in LA, you got the Hollywood, and you got the ocean and the warm weather. Throw a few $100 more million on top of that. $2 billion? Are you kidding me? What does that say the Pistons are worth?
Right.
How many titles have the Pistons won? 3 or 4?
3.
3, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So 89, 90,
Yeah, 3.
And then the one. And they've been to the finals multiple times. This team has had 19 playoff appearances in 20 seasons. They've had 19 games, in their career. They've never been to a final. They've never, let alone won a final.
Yeah, the last 2-3 years have been their best years ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
seriously, name 3 Clippers ever.
Michael Olakambie or whatever was their first. Remember that?
They had first round picks forever.
Right. Chris Paul and Blake.
Well,
I can't think of his name.
Blake, you're talking about the one that's right now, Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
I figured you'd almost have to take away this. If you took away this team, you'd have to
keep
keep going.
Okay.
Name 3
You
plus.
just named who I know. So
yeah, 2 guys and your coach. That's what people can name.
And then Don. Yeah, everybody goes
Most
Don.
importantly.
So how on earth is that worth $2 billion?
Yeah, what are you getting for that? That's crazy, man.
that you're not a racist.
Yeah. Well, I saw a little blurb in the local paper that said, I believe it said this. It said the Tigers, the Red Wings, and the Lions together are worth $2 billion.
What?
I did. Wait, Google it,
No,
dude.
I agree. I believe you. I'm just saying. And then they were selling for 2.
That puts into perspective.
Yeah.
See that again, Jay.
The Tigers, Lions, and Red Wings together
Tigers?
are worth $2 billion.
So those are 3 of the most storied franchises in any of their leagues.
Yeah.
Now the Lions have been they've been their own stats.
But it's an NFL team, though.
They're an
Check
NFL
that, Eric.
franchise.
Check that.
They're an original team. The Red Wings are an original 6 team.
Yeah.
The Tigers have a 100+ year history and have won titles. 3 combined are the Clippers?
Yeah. I know.
Stop it.
I know.
For that price tag to be right, then what are the Lakers worth?
Oh, I
$40
know.
billion? Let's see, $40 billion?
Great point.
Maybe? It's
At
insanity.
least triple that.
At least. I mean, like, there's no history there with great players that you can. The alumni is there. Like,
What were they before? San Diego? They moved from San Diego years ago? So they're called the Clippers?
yeah.
The sailing
yes,
aspect of it?
yes, and that's when he got in the first fight with the NBA when he paid $6 million because they didn't want him to move the franchise.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you got a multi-gazillionaire like Steve Ballmer, who's worth $20 billion. It's a toy to him. Then the next closest bid was hundreds of millions of dollars less.
Jeez.
Hundreds of millions. It's insane, dude. So they'd be crazy. They've already canceled the meeting that was scheduled for Tuesday.
Mhm.
They're like, forget it. Why bother? So anybody that thinks they're not going to push this thing through is nuts. That will go through.
So Don will sue, and this thing will limp along for years. We'll have years
Well-
more of juice and
I hope so.
hurtful things.
Why would she make me say those things? I just don't know why.
That woman.
That woman. I don't know.
But then, after all that, then you see like Sterling suing the NBA for $1 billion. Where did we come up with this number? Because they're going to make you pay the taxes. You're going to get hit with massive taxes by having to sell right now.
You're going to net $500 million more than you would have, but
No, you're going to net. Let's see. He paid $12 million for it.
we're all right. But let's say it was valued at
$1 billion. Okay.
So you get 2, you pay $500 million in taxes. You still net $500 million.
On top of
what you
the value of it, which is ridiculously high.
Complaining, Don.
Yeah,
That's a lot of Land Rovers to be Stiviano.
it is, and $1 million apartments and whatever else. It's crazy. But hey, good for them, I guess. And the NBA should be kissing his ass, because no way on planet Earth does that happen if it's not for
Don's rants.
Well, and they looked so golden too, because it was such an opportunity for the NBA to step out and say, we're doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So yeah, they made out well.
Do you think the NFL will follow suit with doing the right thing?
Boy, this Redskins thing,
Yeah.
it just keeps going and going, doesn't it?
Is it possible that they're going to strong arm Daniel Snyder? For those who aren't fully aware of this, Redskins, apparently, the term, according to Webster's dictionary, is a derogatory racist term against Native Americans. And they obviously want to keep their franchise's name, the Washington Redskins. They say it honors Native Americans. It's a respect thing. It's a warrior mentality. It's a tribute. And the official stance of the NFL is this is not an offensive term. It's not a derogatory term. People hear Redskins, and they think, when they hear Washington Redskins, they do not think of Native Americans or derogatory terms. They think of this franchise, and that's a value there. It's not the same thing. That's their argument. What do you say as a lawyer? Do you think that's an argument?
Well, we talked about this before, and I'm really torn on this. I mean, I personally, I know you're not asking for my personal opinion at this point, but I am.
In a way.
I don't know, man. It is so, it's not like the Seminoles, it's not like the Hurons, where you can argue, oh, you know, we're behind this tribe, and you know, they're fighters, and the Illini, whatever it is. I mean, this is Redskins. This is like black skins, white skins. It's just, it's so fundamentally pointed to race.
It doesn't sound good when you put it like that.
I agree, though. When you hear the term Washington Redskins, you don't immediately think of a red-skinned person and you know, a Native American. You just you think football. But what if they named them the Tedskins?
I don't think that'll work either.
What if they did?
I don't think that'll work.
But your guys named Ted would sue on that? I don't know. I mean, it would.
How long were you sitting on that?
I just thought of it.
Really?
Yes. Why don't we name them the Tedskins?
Or the Deadskins.
Or the Deadskins.
Or the Blueskins.
Whatever.
Anything. Well, I like the idea of fighting just to fight, and I think we're such a sensitive group of pussies and babies that when you look at the world and what's going on in this world around us, when you really take it into perspective and you see us squabbling about
the name of the Redskins, or oh, he said the N-word in his house, or he said this offensive thing, and oh God, he's got to be fired, and and then you see people being raped and hung, and police are like trying to go, oh, why don't we work out a solution here? Nobody needs to be in any trouble.
Yeah. Since we raped and hung them.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly. but it puts into perspective, like, for real, you have people being whipped and lashed and set to death.
God bless America. This is what we're dealing with, right?
And in here, we think this is a major issue.
Yeah.
There was a morning show that was fired not long ago in New Jersey, for having a conversation about RuPaul's comment. RuPaul came out and was like, "Would people fucking relax? Drag queen is not an offensive term. Tranny is not an offensive thing. Saying tranny is not offensive. Stop it. Quit being babies and whining about everything." This team on the air got into a discussion with someone who was clearly a transgender individual, and it was one of those stories we see all the time about, the boy wants to play on the girls' team, because I'm a girl too, but they're not a girl.
Right.
They still have man parts and bone structure and everything else, muscle mass, and so they're having this discussion on the air, which was deemed insensitive. They end up getting blown out. It was their job. It used to be you didn't say fuck, shit, piss, cocksucker, cunt, motherfucker. Did I say them all?
I feel like you did, yeah.
I think so. You didn't say those words, and you could literally say anything you wanted. And if you listen back to old tapes of our show 15 years ago, you'd be horrified. You'd be horrified at the shit we got away with.
Yeah, before the nip slip, yeah.
The nip slip was a big one, yeah, in the Super Bowl. But Daniel Snyder, going back to the Redskins one, has been very vocal. Never, all caps. You mark my words, in all caps. Never will we change the name of this team. It's the Washington Redskins. Deal with it. And that's his stand. He owns that team, and the NFL to this point has backed him up.
Mm-hmm.
They've backed him up, but this story didn't make him look very good. This is from Friday's USA Today. This story keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. The Redskins things. If you notice, papers now refer to them as like the Washington football franchise. They don't even say
really?
Redskins a lot of times in papers. It's so stupid. Yeah. Intermediaries for the Washington NFL team called the leader of a small Nevada tribe Thursday and asked him to come to the Washington region for a news media event with owner Daniel Snyder on Monday. Chairman Joseph Hawley of the Battle Mountain Band of Timucua tribe of Western Shoshone Indians.
Wait, what's his name again?
Joe Hawley.
All right, let me ask you this. If the PC machine didn't get a hold of Joe Hawley and bring him in, would he have had a bitch, a gripe about this?
Probably not.
I feel like, there's not that large a constituency here arguing for the change.
Right.
It's more the PC police doing it, right?
Of course it is.
And they're trying to get it some people that they can throw in front of a camera or whatever to kind of be the face of this.
Yeah.
And show how unfair it is. I mean, that's what's bullshit about it, right?
I totally
NBA,
agree.
you're dealing with African Americans, huge piece of the population.
Right.
And with Native Americans, it's obviously much smaller. So it's a far different issue.
It is something that is like, hey, look what they're doing, pointing it out and pointing out how wrong it is and trying to get you on our side. Well, we got this guy on our side.
Right.
Well, we got this guy against you.
Joe Running Bear is just like, hey, man,
Jesus. Joe Running
Joe
Bear?
Running Bear wants to be left the fuck alone. Is what he wants. But they were highly offended at this. I get. So they get this call and they're like, hey, yeah, come to Washington and sit in a panel and tell us what you think of the Redskin name because you're a big fan of the Redskins, right? And they just leave this message with this guy, and he's like, huh, what? What's going on? Why are you calling me? Busy, running, bear. Don't bother me. And so someone working for the team called me out of the blue to invite me to a meeting in D.C. with the team and its owners and wanted to know what I thought of the team name. They did not tell me what the meeting was about, what I would be doing, or who else was invited and wanted my answer in just a few hours. My answer was no. I've got responsibilities to my community and members here at home and can't be running off to D.C. at a moment's notice to meet with a football team to do who knows what.
That's unbelievable. They just want a face to this thing.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's unreal.
Hey, look, we found this guy.
Yeah. He's offended. He's offended. Tell him how offended you are.
Well, these were the Redskins reaching out to him going, hey, tell him how not offended you are.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so these guys who probably didn't even know who the football team was are now, they've got their spokesperson thought that the Washington team treated American Indians as props, which they kind of did. They were trying to anyways. If the Washington team wants to talk to tribal leaders, they should do so openly and respectfully, not undercover. Tribal leaders are busy running sovereign tribal governments. They have agencies, courts, programs to oversee, and they are under constant time pressure. Oh. It is yet another insult for the team to suggest that these leaders can simply drop everything to fly to Washington to defend the NFL's use of a dictionary-defined racial slur that denigrates Native Americans.
See, it backfired, man. They told the running bear.
Poked the running bear and they got bit.
Don't poke the running bear, dude. Leave him alone. Let him run.
Joe Hawley, a.k.a. Running Bear.
Is that... Jay just made that up, right?
Of course he did.
Okay.
Running Bear exists in cartoons in Jay's mind. Christ.
Oh, I thought so. I just didn't know if I missed something.
So what did the Washington team, who shall remain Redskin nameless? What did they do? They sent out a tweet to all Redskin Nation and went, tell them how you are as proud Redskin Nation. Tell them, make sure you let your senators know, because they got all those senators together and signed this petition saying, oh, Redskins is an offensive term, and sent it to Congress and whatever. So they sent out a tweet to Redskin Nation and said, let them all know that you love Redskins. You're a proud Skins fan. Well, that started trickling in, and they got overwhelmingly pounded with people going, fuck you, you racist assholes. Totally backfired.
Backfired.
Not only did Running Bear shit on them, the whole tweet thing blew up in their face too. Yeah.
So maybe the public is ready for this. And let me just
Which
say,
pisses me off.
well,
They don't care
Right.
unless you make them
okay.
care.
Well, here's the worst case scenario for Snyder though. He makes a fucking assload of money
Mhm.
on new merchandise. You know, changes it to the Ted skins. You know, everybody has to buy a new Ted Skins shirt, new Ted Skins hat.
Dude, what you're missing here, though, is he is the billionaire owner of an NFL franchise. He's not going to be told what to do, and
Yeah.
he's certainly not going to be pushed into doing it. It's got to be his idea to name it the Ted Skins. Running Bear's not going to tell him what to do ever. You know that, and I know that. Just like we wouldn't want people coming in here down the road and going, the Detroit cast is offensive to native Detroiters.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you. We're not calling it the Retroit cast. Forget it. Forget it. It's offensive to anybody who's worn a cast before. Anybody who's broken a boat is offended at the term cast. Change the name now, you racist pieces of shit. The Detroit Fast it is. That's offensive to sprinters. We don't use the term fast anymore. It offends slow people.
True.
Everything's offensive. I don't even know what the R word is anymore. Is it redskin? Is it retard? Is it what is it? What's everybody's offended.
Retard.
It's retard. Okay.
Retard.
Can we call them detards now? Can we get around it that way? Just don't call them bossy whenever you.
I'm just gonna say bossy. I was just gonna say about bossy. Yeah.
Excuse me, the B word.
Right. How dare you?
I wish I was Casey Kasem.
Ooh,
I wish
do
I was
ya?
Casey Kasem.
Being shipped around in FedEx boxes with holes in it.
Yes, I do.
At least they poked holes in it so he could breathe.
When Casey checked out mentally
Yeah.
and is just like
Might be in a happier place. Who knows?
might be. Who knows where he is? Well, we know that his vessel is still there. He's still his vessel still exists. But what's going on in that vessel? That's all it is right now. You know that. We both know that. But at the time he checked out mentally from the vessel, which is still plugging along, it's given its best. This world didn't exist of B words and R words and N words. Like, he checked out just in time to avoid all the Sterling bullshit and all the other crap. He got out. He got out right in time. His FedEx box was shit, and he knew none of this.
He put in his last Scooby-Doo episode.
Shaggy. He
Shag-
was
that's-
Shaggy.
Scooby too, wasn't he?
Was he?
I think he
Zoinks.
was. I think he was.
Isn't that what Zoinks?
Zoinks. Yeah.
Scooby Snacks. Hey, Scoob. Hey, Scoob. Yeah, that stoner Shag. Yeah, so now his family is just, and I don't know, I guess Gene is the asshole, probably, right?
Yes, and what
In
was
this story.
Gene on, Eric?
Well, there's a lot, but I mean, I guess when I was looking at
I
here,
feel like I remember Gene from like the Bob Newhart show or Cheers.
I was thinking Cheers
or,
when you said
Cheers shows up here.
Okay.
Yeah, she does show
she's
up.
the
on,
bimbo wife of the
yeah,
Austin
like a
bimbo and
tall
old.
blonde, real blonde hair.
Yeah.
Who's just total bimbo looking shit.
If you wouldn't have said that, Jay, I never would have put that together, that was her. Never. I
Yeah.
totally remember that character now.
Yeah.
yeah. Cheers was probably looks like one of her biggest ones for sure. I mean, there was many little roles here and there, but it looks like that was
Yeah.
the one I recognize the most.
Well, she's got she's been fighting with the family, obviously, and the whole FedEx box with the holes punched in it is when the family went, we don't know where he is. He's missing. He's been stolen.
No, he's just been shipped.
Yeah, and so we just assumed he was shipped somewhere because he popped up in Washington of all places.
At an Indian reservation,
Yeah,
no?
he was a running
Running Bear.
back. Look
They
at
sent
him.
him to Running Bear.
It all comes together in the end. Yeah, he was at the Santa Monica facility, doing fine. He was in his vessel, chilling. Everything was fine. They were looking after him, making sure the vessel was continuing on. And then all of a sudden, he's on his way, first class, mind you. They weren't monsters. They shipped him in his FedEx, first class, overnight, priority. He ends up in Washington with Running Bear, and the family's flipping their lid. Where is he? Where's Zoinks? Where is he?
So you go. That was what I was laughing at. You're telling the story, and you just goes, like he was so.
Interesting that they would choose to ship in FedEx.
Yeah, you almost said that.
My finger like on the bottom of it.
I'm glad they went first class priority. That seems only proper, really.
Refrigerated.
You were just like so like interested, but you were like really taking it in. Like you're like he's explaining this. You're like,
I'm just listening here.
So he's in. They're like, he's fine. He's in Washington. He's on an Indian reservation. We're vacationing.
Right.
He's got his vessel. It's fine.
Yeah,
We're vacationing. He's got his daughter, his vessel. We're chilling. And the family goes nuts. They think his medical condition is the vessel's dying.
Mm-hmm.
It's falling apart. And
The national treasure that he is.
as they called him.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a national treasure. He's missing. We've located him. He's in good hands. However, he's not getting the proper medical attention. And so the courts intervened and said, listen, Gene, you're a nut. Out of the way. The daughter's allowed to come over and supervise for an hour a day with the medical, blah, blah, blah. She won't open the door and let her in. She won't answer the door. So, fooled again. Back to court, and now there's another court order and all this crap. And so Gene...
That's such bullshit. This is his daughter, right? His blood.
His actual daughter.
His actual daughter who
Yeah.
wants to...
Fighting.
Yeah, and here's this, like, third wife or whatever
Right.
who comes in and is just acting like a psycho. That sucks.
Totally. And she's pissed off because the court order didn't go her way.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does she do? She pulls out a phone and starts playing a recording for all the microphones there of this American legend,
National
icon,
treasure.
national treasure, just going, and she goes, this is how he feels about what his family has done to him. That's how upset he is. Listen to how upset he is.
You have that audio.
Do we?
I don't.
Damn it,
I don't
Eric.
think
I did
so.
a pretty good job of that.
I don't think so because I couldn't pre-listen to it. So like they have news articles.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, they have like stories that are on it, but I don't.
Now let's see if these monsters will play the audio, if they'll act like this could be disturbing. We can't wait to play it for you. We're gonna act like we don't want to play this, but it's part of the story. We feel we should bring it to you. So here it is. It's fucking awesome. Oh my God, wasn't that fucking awesome? Oh, we're very terribly sorry.
So sorry if any children have to.
Maybe you want to ask your children. This is very offensive. We're going to bring you this wonderful fucking awesome audio. Listen to this, Casey Kasem.
Oh my God, it's a fucking national treasure. But Sarah,
Go ahead and play
I
it.
couldn't pre-listen to this, so this is like a
so
pause.
this could be
you're
anything.
Kind of pause and set up moment here where I'll go back. Are you talking about it?
Oh my gosh, look at his son. Look how much he looks like him.
Wow.
I thought maybe.
Buy box. Ooh. God, I feel bad for them.
Mm.
Oh, no, she's the shitty daughter. Never mind.
Well, let your family members see him.
Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
So that's basically the story we described, Mike, and then
Yeah.
Eric just played it for us in news form.
Right.
I,
Utter waste of time, but that's okay. See if you can find her playing the.
there's the only.
audio.
I tried, dude. The only other one I could find, but I don't even think this shows any. This is just her on CNN talking, so I don't know if this is.
But I'll blame you if it's wrong.
Okay.
Oh, this could be it. This could be it.
Listen to Casey.
Was just
For being shipped.
forced to picture Casey Kasem with a bed sore.
I know.
Mhm.
Great.
He's still here.
Instead of like this.
And put it in a box. In a box.
Shit priority.
Albeit with holes in it.
She's not a monster. him going crazy. That whole
Yeah.
goddamn death.
Yeah.
Nah, you pussies.
Well, that adds
oh,
some
wait,
information.
is that the full statement?
Well, this is the full statement from the wife, but this is
That's
just
what
her.
we want. The full statement from, like, see if there's anywhere where she pulls, just fast forwarding through it, if she pulls out her phone.
Doesn't look like.
I'll fix it in post.
Okay. Gotcha. It doesn't look like it on here when I'm going through this. It looks like she's just reading the whole time.
When is this from?
May 23rd. Or no. Published on May 23rd, so could have been further from there.
Well, either way, the rest of the family is horrified that she would play this audio.
What was the audio again?
And she's claiming that that's proof that this is the decision. They went to him and went, Casey's vessel, we've got bad news. Your actual daughter is going to be here in charge of your care. And he went,
Which
And
could
so-
mean I'm delighted. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see her.
thank God you're not going to mess with me, you monster. And so
Awesome.
that she was using that as proof. Look how upset he is at this. And they're hearing this going, oh my God, you fucking assholes, what are you doing, Gene?
Mm.
You know how proud our father was. The last thing he wants to be remembered as is that.
Ugh.
End of story. So, I don't know. Gene just sounds like a douchebag to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think we can all agree that Casey would not want to go out that way. Correct?
Agreed. National treasure.
National treasure. That's true. Jay, what is this porn linked to the brain differences in men story? Is this something I don't remember that? It could be because I've watched so much porn that
Wow.
it's messed with my brain.
Yeah, a German study of 64 men between the ages of 21 and 45 that made use of MRIs found that the more porn they reported watching, the smaller the volume of the brain area associated with rewards and motivation was.
Okay. So
what
if you're
does that
watching
mean?
porn a lot,
That means
you don't get excited for.
it shows that there was less activation in this one part of the brain the more pornography participants consumed. The part of the brain that registers rewards. So
Okay.
as you watch more, I guess
Porn.
you need more to be
Yeah.
rewarded.
Well, which kind of goes along with what we've talked about with some of those guys that the rape stuff
Seriously,
with
yeah.
Sharper, where
This
you
does
get-
not surprise me at all, right?
Right.
And while this is arguably science, I thought it was kind of a porn story too, so I thought it was okay to go ahead with it. But
Borderline.
you're
I'll give it to
exactly
you.
right. Like the
Continue.
Sharper guys and all that, where we've talked about, wow, how do you get to that point where
Yeah.
that's what you need to do? Well, if we could back up history,
Yeah,
and look at your last 20 years and where you started and where you
you
ended up.
distorted that so
Yeah, man.
much.
And so this is, some scientific proof that, changes in the brain are happening as people are watching porn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how true that is. I wonder.
They're German and they're studying it.
Well, the Germans would know. There's some wicked German porn out there. They are long past missionary stuff. That doesn't even count anymore. As porn
Not even
anymore.
sex.
Have they graduated from that?
You want to find yourself German with chicken. Go. Delightful audio to listen to, folks. You'll love it.
But it's funny, these studies, they throw that out there and then they go, but she points out that her study cannot answer whether porn viewing causes changes in the brain or whether the differences are already there and people with that type of brain are inclined to watch more porn. It's like, well,
So
What came first,
what
the
the
chicken?
fuck? Exactly.
What came first, the porn or the
Jeez.
retard?
That's why science is just better left alone.
Yeah. We're
I digress.
yeah. That makes a strong argument for you anti-science guys. It really does, because it shows we're out of our league.
Yeah.
Tell me when you can answer it definitively.
I know.
Until then,
I don't just throw that out there.
yeah, like it may. Research says that perhaps. Well, I could have told you that. Maybe it does. Guess what? Maybe it doesn't. What do you know?
We had one mouse who said it does, one mouse who said it doesn't. I don't
Whoa!
know.
How many years did you go to school to learn that?
Dude, I was
That's
thinking more
science
about.
rules.
I was thinking more about that exercise wheel outside in
Yeah.
wilderness. I mean, I can't believe that just wild animals walked onto this. You know, we talked about it last week. These sort of exercise wheels and mouse cages.
Yeah.
And they put one outside in wilderness, and they videotaped it, and they watched wild animals walk up to it and use it.
Even
That's
slugs.
freaking crazy.
I know. Because they could put that outside all day long, and humans would just walk right by it. Yet a slug will take a turn.
I know, man.
Yeah, no guy's just gonna start getting in the wheel and start running.
It's so bizarre.
Well, there's outdoor exercise equipment, kind of. I guess we do pull-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
God, we should probably talk real quick because we don't have a ton of time left. But about these, did you hear about these two? Well, I think we talked about it last week. I'm getting them confused. I swear to God, with the rapes and murders going on in these countries, makes you. It just makes it so funny to me, the bickering that we have in this country, like I was saying earlier.
It's all relative.
It is, man. And these two teenage, I thought they were cousins. They say sisters in this story, unless it's a different story, which could be too. In rural India, raped and killed by attackers who hung their bodies from a mango tree. And the people in this village were so appalled. These girls, I guess, went out to use a bathroom.
In the Sudan, did you say?
In India.
Oh, in India. Okay.
Yeah. It was in the Katra village in Uttar Pradesh state.
Well, India has all
Washington.
India has all the different levels of society.
Yeah,
the
it's
caste
confusing.
system or whatever.
Yes.
So yeah, these are probably girls who are at the bottom rung, and they're just looked at as property. And
dude, you're all over it. That's
do
exactly what
whatever
it was, and I didn't know that until you said that. Like, I was trying to make sense of it, but that's exactly what it is. Okay, so they got like poverty levels.
Yeah.
And like the biggest shit of them all, these villagers, they're not even looked at as human anymore. How could you do that to people? But they did, and these the other villagers made like a circle around this tree, this mango tree, where these two dead girls are hanging. And because the cops weren't doing shit about it, they've arrested two of these cops who were kind of, I don't know if they were in on it or just looking the other way. Mm-hmm. And these people were protesting, wouldn't let the authorities come in and take the bodies down until they were going to do something about it. They were tired of this bullshit. They ended up taking these bodies down themselves and taking it out into the fucking freeway and making a scene. Like, no, this is not going to be ignored. And that's when they finally got involved and arrested people. But it's like, what is going on in this world? Yeah, it just seems like two different universes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. It is incredible. And again, it just makes you appreciate what we have here and our very relatively small problems.
Yeah. Yep.
And we can friggin' sit on a radio show and
make fun of people for a living. Or not living. Try to make a living making fun of people. Someday, maybe. It's getting closer to us. Mexico, did you see this? This 16-year-old girl.
I did see that, dude. The Facebook thing.
Fuck, man. Yeah. Stabbing her teen best friend 65 times.
Yeah, what was the deal? The friend posted nude pictures of them.
Yeah.
Like them as a couple.
I don't know. They're very vague about it. Of the pair together, nude photos of the pair were posted on social media together. Anel Baez, age 16, was killed when she was stabbed 65 times after allegedly posting photos of her and a friend. She'd invited her friend, Irandi Elizabeth Gutierrez, over to her home to resolve the ongoing feud over the photos. The attacking teen asked to use the bathroom as a distraction, but then grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed this girl. And then she fled, was seen publicly grieving over the death in the following days, but then showed up at the funeral and was promptly arrested. What the hell,
think about
man?
65 stabs.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
I know.
Wow. The amount of gore, you know?
Yeah, it's really
just a rage.
Crazy. There's a good family friend of ours that her name was Diane. She was an amazing therapist, good friend of my mom's. And this was all over the news years ago when her 15-year-old son stabbed her to death 150 times.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it's called, the thing when you stab someone's eyes out. Like you don't want them to see, like there's something about that, and there's a name for it when it's a child, your own child. It was the most grisly story, and you wouldn't believe how unbelievably awesome this lady was. Diane O'Connor. She was an amazing woman, and I can't imagine, like, first off, doing that to any person, let alone your mother, your own mom. Good Lord, man.
How long is he in jail for?
Well, he was 15.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was out.
Wow.
You know, like
similar to the Kwame witnesses that they finished with sentencing last week. They got some pretty light sentences. Did you hear about that?
Briefly.
Kwame's winding down, man. The Kwame thing is wound down. They sentenced the last an original co-defendant, Derek Miller, who was like his buddy from high school and tight with him. Right-hand guy who really, according to the judge's statements at sentencing, kind of pulled everything together for the jury, because there was just a lot of testimony, but he really sat there and said, yeah, you know, I took money, I took bribes, I gave it to Kwame, you know, I was told send business to Bobby Ferguson and all that. So he was playing ball. He was a real key, and he played ball from the beginning.
Really?
And the
he
judge
knew they were going down.
Oh yeah. And he was originally charged with along with that Victor Mercado guy who was the water board or whatever. So Judge Nancy Edmonds, who's a great judge, by the way.
Is she?
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite judges for sure. Down at federal court, she sentenced him to 12 months house arrest, basically.
Oh, really?
So a dude who was facing several years ended up playing ball, did the right thing.
Yeah.
And that really speaks to this whole snitch idea, and people are so afraid to snitch or this and that, but I mean,
it's the difference in house arrest versus 10 years, right? Yeah.
So Kwame got 28, Bobby got 21, so I would think if the guy went the distance, he probably would have ended up with like 8 or 10 years.
Probably, at least. They were making an example out of those guys for sure.
And those were the two big guys they wanted. Obviously, it was Kwame and Bobby, and that's why they made deals with these others.
Right.
But Bobby, did I ever tell you I saw Bobby down there? I had a trial earlier this year down at federal court, and I was actually in Edmonds' courtroom when she sentenced Emma Bell. That was the lady who was the chief campaign person for Kwame.
Okay.
And she got a slap on the wrist too because she played ball.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of thank you Jesuses in that courtroom.
Really?
Oh yeah. She had like a lot of family members there. She's 70 years old. And this lady, she got a lot of restitution ordered, but she got no jail time, which they were just like, thank God.
Yeah.
But after that, the prosecution was going forward with the second case against Bobby, which was the weapons case. Remember how they found when they went to his apartment, the riverfront apartments. Yeah, and he's like, oh, it wasn't my apartment. What? He's got his pictures on the wall, his initials, scrawled on the wall. And shit. But they found guns, and so they brought weapons charges against him. He ended up beating those. But during those couple weeks that I was down there, he was led down the hall several times to and from the holding cell to the courtroom. That dude looks like a broken man.
Really?
Oh my God! Remember how cocky he was?
Yeah,
$10,000 suit.
Yeah.
That dude, I bet you lost 35 to 40 pounds.
Really?
And he looks like a different guy. Face is just downturned, looking at the floor as he's being led to and from. Clothes are just baggy on him and stuff. And just broken dude.
Wow.
Yeah, looking at 21 years.
Oh, that sucks.
The thing about those guys, though, is they have money buried all over the place.
Yeah.
Millions.
Yeah.
So if and when they get out, they'll be.
But the thing with
shovels out. You know what you hope though is like those gold finders find shit before
before they do. That was from a previous Bobby.
Exactly.
Kwame that buried the ones in California. The thing with the federal though, there's no like you always hear 20 years and do 10 with times good behavior. There's no such thing as it when you're dealing with federal court, right?
Yeah, no, there is.
I thought you'll do every minute of that.
They might. What do you have? 21, and then Kwame had 28. Yeah, that's a long time, man. Either way.
So how I was absolutely certain that with federal.
Maybe you're right. I've never done federal criminal law, but
Okay.
my assumption was always that anything with any sort of jail overcrowding or wanting to get prisoners out,
yeah.
you're going to allow.
Well, I just remember them at the time making a big deal about like, hey, this is different than when you're dealing with federal. It's different than you're not going to get a day for every day. You're good. You get a day off, and so you'll do 10 years of a 20-year sentence. They'll do that all the time, which is like, holy shit, 20 years.
Long time.
That was the mayor of a major American city.
What a huge example they made. And as we talked about last week with the blight removal and all that, none of that shit happens if this dude's still sitting there.
Oh God,
none of that shit. It's still just being run into the ground for years to come.
Yeah.
I think this was a huge moment in Detroit history. I really do.
It
to be able to take those guys down and have people snitch on them, and to actually go to bat and do the right thing.
Well, he was
have a mixed jury, find against those guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And when you think about it, like he just thought that this city was his own personal credit card and playground, and he was doing that from day one. I mean, I think back to the early days with the Explorer, the Navigator. And doing stuff with getting cute with the numbers. Oh yeah, make sure it's $24,999. It's 25,000. You got to report it. Like those cutesy things, and then hiding it. There was a thing they were going to auction that Navigator off, and he was so afraid that the Drew and Mike show would buy that and make an example of it that they wouldn't auction it. I swear to God.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank God for guys like ML, who chased it down and were on top of it. And for these prosecutors, they worked for years. I know somebody who was close to that prosecution, and years and years and years of hard work and just digging. I
wonder if they were worried at all, like you'd end up with the OJ case where it looks absolutely like it's an open and shut case. You can't lose, and there's always that
worry with a jury. You never know, man.
You get one outlaw guy that goes, nope, bullshit, I don't buy any of it. They set up anybody.
Well, that's what happened with the original Bobby case. Remember, they had the one outlier, and she was on board Friday afternoon when they left, and they're like, well, let's just come back on Monday and we'll kind of sleep on it. She slept on it. I was like, nope, absolutely not. Not convicted.
So what do you think? Someone got to her? Clearly.
Yeah.
Dude, how? I mean, aren't they in the hotels, like summoned away from families and TV and media?
I don't think they were. I think they were just instructed not to watch any, not to talk.
They wouldn't be sequestered?
No, I don't think those guys are sequestered.
Wow. It's not like it's a murder trial.
In fact, I know. I talked to the court reporter. I've been in that courtroom a lot and talked to the court reporter. I sat in Kwame's chair for a 2-week trial.
Really?
I did. I talked to the court reporter. I'm like, where did he sit? She's like, right where you're sitting. And then they did the underwear bomber too.
Oh, no way.
Same chair as the underwear bomber.
Really, the guy that was trying to blow up the plane in Detroit.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, those jurors were not sequestered. They come and do half-a-day trial and then go back to work. Come the next day.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the judge is doing half-day trials at that point.
Why?
Just like so that they could have a life.
But as if they're not going to see the need. It was everywhere.
I know. You're ordered not to, and they're trusted not to.
Oh, as if, dude. Does anybody believe for a split second that they wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Well, the thing is, what are you going to see in the media, though, other than just argument? I mean, you're the one sitting there hearing the actual evidence.
Yeah, but they're not smart enough to know that. They're dumb jurors, like I would be.
Well, yeah, and then
we're smart jurors.
Well, then when things get where they can't use certain things and they'll talk about it on TV, like he said, like you're saying that you're seeing everything, but then if they see something again that like you weren't supposed to listen to technically,
that was
right? Yeah, then it's like you might hear it again.
A lot of stuff like that, you would think. Strike that from the record. Oh, I didn't hear that.
That happens all the time.
It seems so silly to me.
You will not consider that as admitted. Like, all
right. Okay.
That was all.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, like it's something like.
The defendant said he did it.
Right. Strike that from the record. Nobody heard that. But none of you heard that.
What was like one of the biggest ones? Is there a specific one that you remember, like something very specific, where they struck it from the record and you had to be like, how could they just not remember that? Like you said, like some guy going like, oh, I did it, and he's like, guys, that wasn't on the stand. It doesn't count.
Yeah, it'd take me a few minutes to set it.
Okay.
But there definitely are times where you're just like, okay.
It's kind of like, I heard that. I know they heard it too. It's not going to be good.
What would stop some of them from just almost yelling stuff out, and then they could say like, "Oh, that doesn't count. That doesn't."
Judge will whack your ass.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll get sanctioned.
Okay.
And I mean, you will get an earful
Okay.
for sure if you go into something. She'll take the jury out and she'll let you have.
Okay.
And
Jeez.
ultimately sanction you and find you in contempt if you do something really bad.
Gotcha.
But
How,
yeah,
how bad is contempt, by the way? I know you don't want it, but is it like a timeout?
I'm in jail, man.
Like
I know.
going like in the corner.
Yeah. Is it like, you're in contempt? Well, you're in contempt.
Does that ever happen to people ever do that? When you just
No?
No.
I would.
People are usually.
Do the judges when they say like what is it overruled or stuff like that? Do they ever really yell it out? You ever had a judge get real violent with it? Like,
No, usually.
I object. Overruled.
The dramas you see on TV are just they're pretty dramatic.
You heard about my courtroom experience, right? With the painters.
Oh, you got you did.
I've
You
been
did.
in
You
the
got.
courtroom with you once or twice.
I
now.
think so too. Yeah, this is a different one.
This
It
is
was one of
great.
those just that, like, what was the one by us, 47th District
Okay.
in Farmington Hill. And I've told this story before, but I was sitting there. It was for, I can't remember, minor possession or speeding, some bullshit. And this is one of those packed courtrooms, and every kid in town has got their MIP things going up, and this girl goes and that girl goes, this judge is fucking reading this girl the riot act, fucking tearing her up and down, and she's being a smartass. And all of a sudden, this painter, in full painting gear, you can tell he just left the house. He's in his white, he's got his hat on, he's got a beard. He just looks like an asshole. He's got his partner with him. They look like a movie, like they've been cast in a role as painters. They just didn't fit in the description. And this dude's sitting in the back with his back against the wall, and he just yells out, "Don't stick it in too far, Your Honor."
Oh no way!
Fucking lost it, dude. I had to leave the court, and I was laughing so hard. "Don't stick it in too far, Your Honor."
What Your Honor said.
Nothing.
Holy shit!
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a magistrate. It wasn't like a federal case. It was just a bunch of kids and stuff. But it was still just seeing some asswipe. Totally, they dress for court, act appropriate, and he's like paint all over his hands. And
Perfect.
it was awesome. Don't stick it in too far, Your Honor. Never forget it. All right, should we call it a day?
Yeah, we better.
Yeah, it's only like I don't even know what time it is. It feels really late.
It is.
Yeah. So I guess that'll do it for a Monday edition, right? It's a good way to start the week. And but thank you all for listening. We do appreciate that. Continue to tell people to listen. Tell everybody you know, right? And thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And for me, Jay, Eric, thank you. Goodbye. We'll do it again tomorrow. All right. We'll see you then.
Hey Jay.
Yeah.
Look at this. This just happened.
FIFA fiscal.
Oh, it's 2022.
But it's over. Communications just happened.
What?
Wow.
Jay was,
Fucking Qatar bribing people for the World Cup.
Jay was just talking about that, and literally I just saw this thing on Facebook or
Shit,
something.
I thought it was 2018.
Well, no. But this is over. It's kind of regarding now for the next one, even.
Okay.
Because they're talking about. Because I think they're talking about how this is going to affect the next.
Okay.
They're going to revote something.
It is there in 2018.
Yeah, they're going to revote though for like the next one.